Hi Haley, let me tell you about the second time that I worked at Crown Hill Cemetery in Indianapolis as part of the grounds crew. That would be my seventh job for the purposes of this series. I was 19 years old, I was still living at the house in Indianapolis on Maradona, and I still had the red '78 Mustang. I returned to work another summer at Crown Hill after my sophomore year at college and was reunited with Bill, who was still attending Mount St. Mary's College in Maryland. We hung out with Diana, who was part of the irrigation crew and was trying to keep her skin out of the sun as much as possible because she had a wedding to attend later that summer and didn't want to ruin her dress lines. For this reason, in addition to her black boots and dark brown sunglasses, many referred to her as the vampire girl, though I don't think it was true, although it could have been. Jason from Southern Indiana was back for another season. We had a lot of fun driving the dump truck. He was always trying to lay rubber when he peeled out of that. I believe the guy who drove a late '70s Thunderbird was named Tyler or something beginning with a T, or maybe I just think that because of his car. He could have been Josh or Dustin, actually. In my mind, he does look like a Dustin, so let's go with that. Andy, the crew leader, was still there and still in nursing school. Another supervisor named Chris was still there. The previous autumn, he had scored one of the cemetery's pickup trucks at an auction and spray painted it black. It wasn't the best looking paint job, but it had the right amount of character for that parking lot. The interment crew, Dooley, Sheila, the short blonde lady whose name I still don't remember, the tall skinny guy with the Trans Am was still there, Sam the excavator, were all present and still keeping the grounds maintained. I mentioned last time that every college guy who rolled through wanted to write a book or something. They were so shocked and enamored by the full-time crew and their foibles and their hijinks that we all said we were going to write a book about that place. I would discover that to be a consistent sentiment across a lot of different jobs I held over the years, actually. No surprise, really, many popular TV shows and movies have been set at a place of work. Office Space, Waiting, The Office, Love Boat, Reno 911, Superstore, etc. I wonder if I am the first to deliver stories to the public about Crown Hill in a format like this. If you're out there watching and you used to work with me or any of these characters at Crown Hill, let me know. The summer of '93, however, I started out on the mowers. I had the experience and the willingness, and so that was where I was assigned. After a few days on the job, the crew leader was replaced by a man with the initials PM. I'll withhold the name here for reliability reasons, and maybe a little out of fear. PM was one of those temporary employees who would come to the cemetery by day and then return to prison at night. So when he was out of range of the boss's office, he was not seeking to do a hard day's labor. He was seeking to relax in the shade and smoke 'em if he had 'em, which he did. This was frustrating and uncomfortable for me. Still young, still naive. I was expecting work to be taken at a slow pace. I was familiar with the trappings of that job, after all. But it just seemed like a lot of empty, wasted time if we were not actually mowing the grass while on the mowing crew. Plus, keeping in mind how sheltered and naive I was, nearly everything this guy did was shocking to me. And I was probably afraid of losing heaven points just by listening to him and being within earshot vicinity. I believe I ran the mower for 1 full week, and then I took a couple of days off once PM took over. So maybe it was 3 weeks, something like that. The first day off, I drove back home and I parked a few doors down. And then one of the neighbors actually came down to my house and knocked on the door and asked me why I had to park in front of his house when I had plenty of parking in front of mine. Clearly, I was a kid trying to get away with something. I planned to move the car in the afternoon. I wasn't trying to get busted. And as I think about that as an adult now, I really can't believe that guy couldn't just let it go for a few hours. I certainly always notice the little changes on my street, but I don't immediately go grill the neighbor kids about what they're doing. Perhaps he had other plans for that stretch in front of his house that day. I don't know. Perhaps he was trying to get away with something. Who knows? Anyway, the second day off, I drove to Danville, Kentucky, where I had lived in the 7th grade. I wanted to see how much it might have changed, and I knew the round-trip drive would take about 8 hours. I had lunch at the steakhouse we used to go to on Sundays. I drove past the middle school and our old church. I cruised downtown, and then I came back home. It was a boring yet possibly desperate move. The next few days brought rain, so I went back to work and we did the stuff we did when it rained, which probably consisted of cleaning, maintenance, stone straightening, etc. I finally worked up the courage to express my concerns to the boss, Dooley, about my assignment and the current crew leader, and he found another task for Bill and me to do. So we spent the rest of our time that summer inside the mausoleum building, removing the marble panels and ensuring everything in and around the sealed crypt was tidy, in good repair, and pest-free. It was a sweet, air-conditioned gig. Each day, on the drive from the time clock break room area out to the mausoleum building, Bill would see how fast he could get the cemetery's Ford Fairlane to go on the quarter-mile straightaway that passed under 38th Street. I think he hit 60 miles per hour once. But if this gets me or Bill in trouble, don't tell anybody. I left that job at the end of July and returned to Springfield early that summer because my best friend and his brother had acquired a house in town, and we probably expected to be up to college-aged shenanigans together. For the most part, I enjoyed my time at Crown Hill. The characters and personalities were certainly the most intriguing part, and I learned that sometimes you have to communicate in jobs if things aren't meeting your expectations. Occasionally, changes will take place that actually benefit you. There's no need to punish yourself for other people's problems. So that was job 7. Next up will be a short position at a restaurant in a college town. Thanks for watching.